Hello, America. Today is our day to change the course of this election. So many elections go by and we focus on the top 6 things. Next thing you know, it's over. We're all scratching our heads. What got accomplished? My name is John Christopher McInerney, short Mac. Today what we're going to focus on are all the things that we haven't been talking about. We're going to take these things to the candidates and see how much we can get accomplished. Because if we rally together, if we really stick together, we're going to be able to do that. We started with 3 things. First, study the facts, plan of action, more important than all, how to pay for it. We've got an entire plan here that I'm going to breeze through, but I am going to spend a few minutes talking about the kids. When we're done going through all of the areas that we haven't been focusing on enough or at all, we'll jump into the graphs as to how everybody's included in on this thing. Everybody. I don't know what's so hard about that. Seems pretty simple thing. Let's kick it off by first asking our athletes out there to rise up. Rise up and join me for a moment here. I think you're going to like what we have to say, because we need to respect our national anthem. But we need an outlet sometimes. An outlet. It's how we express these things when they aren't going right. We're going to talk about a lot of not rights. When this is all said and done, you're going to realize just how much MAC is against attacks to rights, liberties, and freedoms. So please, stay with me. Everybody out there. Everybody thinks that when I get to the end, I'm not going to be able to talk about the money. I'm going to crash and burn. Please stick with us. Let's kick it off with the kids. A lot of children out there, a lot of children suffering. That 17% you see, that represents black children, young adults, struggling with a single or no parent. The rest of them, only 17% have both in the home. This is just heartbreaking. Kids, my heart truly goes out to all of you. We all need to come together on this one. We really do. We all need to come together on this. And what are we going to do for them, and how are we going to do it? First, we're going to reach out to those parents. And parents, I'm reaching out to you. Maybe it's been too long since you made that phone call. Maybe it's been too long since you stopped by, but make that effort today. They need you. They need you in their lives. They need the support. Now kids, I'm very sorry. I know that some of you will not get that call. And it is crushing. It is crushing. Now how are we going to fill the gap? How are we going to do it? We're going to use big brothers and big sisters. We're going to get groups of people who can be good, positive influences in their lives. We need to do this. We need to rally for them. But of course, these things do cost money. We're going to explain how we're going to pay for that later. But we've got to do this for them. We've got to do it. How can we expect them to grow, become good citizens, if we can't take the effort to help, to recognize a serious situation is going on out there? We've got to do this. Let's focus on our children. Something I don't think we take enough time to talk about is what's really going on out there. We've got some communities that really feel they are being pressured, put down, pushed back. And for all of those individuals, please stay with us tonight. Join us. Stick with us. We're ever going to solve this thing. We got to do it together. Time and time again, we hear the stories. Another community, another community. It started with Ferguson. Let's never forget that. It started with Ferguson. And I need everybody in Ferguson standing up with me on this now, really. Let's work this thing. Let's work it. We're going to show them what you're made of before we're done here. We're really going to do it. Because if we don't all unite on this, these things can happen anywhere. That news board behind is a representation of news that I took starting in 2013, 2014, and a little into 15. And why did I do that? Well, because we have to get the vibe. We have to know exactly what has been happening so we can make a real good, strong decision when it comes for voting time. So I'm going to refer to this from time to time. At the very end, I'm going to show you the whole thing so you can have an appreciation for it. And you can check it out at your leisure. But for now, for time, we're going to move through this. But I really want to address this problem with the police. Because it's a serious thing. We've got to support our police. We've got to be strong. And sometimes you have to be the one, be big enough to turn it around. And instead of flipping the bird, instead of the insults, let's try stopping and talking with them for a minute. Ask them how they're doing. Turn it around. Before you know it, instead of hands up against the wall, maybe it's, how'd you do on that history test? I was by the hospital, talked to your aunt, how's she doing? These people care, they have families. They want to protect their community. We pay them to do that. We've got to be behind them, folks. When you're over the line, you're over the line. Take it walking tall. But now for these situations where we've had flags raised, let's make sure we get some agents down there. People with the authority to look into it properly, to make sure that it has been eliminated. But let's do this. Let's see this thing through. I want to share one story with you. I only have time for one today. But there are several stories like it. Coming off a very late flight, left just after midnight, coming out of Denver on a red eye. Denver to New York to Boston. Now I may have gotten 2 hours sleep, driving home. Next thing you know, whoop! Oh, I wasn't speeding. Hold on the window. What's the problem? He says, you're not registered. Not registered. Oh boy. Give him the paper. It's not right because it's not the new one. I just forgot. A mistake. A true mistake. But he's got me on this thing and he's not going to let me drive the vehicle. Oh, can't figure out how I slipped. I looked over. I see the sticker, but it doesn't matter. It's not right. And I'm so exhausted. I'm starting to look around. I'm starting to see the grassy areas around me. I can't possibly make a 4-hour walk home. So I say to him, what can we do? Work with me on this. Anything possible. He says, well, we can do it over the phone. Wow, do it over the phone. I've never done that. Can you help me? Can you walk me through it? Takes the information, goes back to his car. 5 minutes goes by. You're all set, he says. You're all set. Wow. Wow, I was floored. Completely and totally floored. On top of that, he Could have been a very, very expensive ticket. I had a prior many, many years ago, same thing. This could have been a bad one. He says, I gave you a warning. Wow. Wow. Now that is the difference, the discretion an officer has. When you're generally a good citizen, you're not a troublemaker, they have that ability from time to time, not all the time, but from time to time, and that makes the difference between getting it or getting a break. So turn this thing around. Start it today. Turn it around. We've got to support them. Nicholas, Papa Giorgio from Dunstable, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And that's one of several stories. Now it's real important that we get people to register to vote. Real important. What most of us don't realize, there is a time frame. Could be 20 days, could be 30 days, depending on where you live. Let's get you registered. Let's do it. Let's get it done this week. Get it done. So when the time comes, we can actually do it. Because the way I see it, in this election, we've got two candidates. We've got Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And everyone else is just merely there to divide us and split us apart. So we've got three choices. One or the other, or we stay home. That's how I see it. But if we rally together, if we come together, we just might accomplish a great majority of what we're going to talk about today. And that's what this is about. Everybody coming together, taking the chips off their shoulders, not worrying about Republican, Independent, Democrat. Let's just put it all aside and focus on what we haven't been talking about. Want to reassure our seniors. During this election, all sorts of talk came up about raising the work time and this and that. We need to reassure our seniors that we are going to roll our sleeves up. We are going to get in there. We're going to get to work up on the hill. And we're going to reassure them that that money will be there that they put in. It's the right thing to do. We all have to do it. We got to rally this thing and make sure that talk like that is eliminated. Let's get some assurances from them. Affordable drugs. Seems every other day something is coming up. I just heard one. This product went from approximately $100 to $500 overnight. Now, how are people to keep up with stuff like this? How are they able to afford it? Now, I'm all about making profit, but these are medical needs. And when it's a medical need, the government needs to somehow step in to make sure that we have alternatives, that we are not put in these devastating positions. Really should focus it. Take a look. Take a look. Somebody you know is on medication. They need it. Sometimes it's not an option. Oh, we're just not going to get it this month. They need it. Veterans. If you study my news board later, you'll realize there isn't anyone else out there that was more concerned with what was going on than I. As things, news story after news story kept coming out about people not being seen properly. Now, Donald's thrown out a great idea. He's told us that you're going to be able to get to see any doctor you want, check into any hospital, make it happen. And that's a great start. But ultimately, we are paying for these facilities. And are we going to dissolve them? I don't think that's the answer. I think there are a lot of people there with a lot of caring, and we just need to retrain them. We need to redirect, refocus. So let's do that. What we're going to do, we're going to go to our local hospitals, nearby hospitals, and we're going to get the talent. We're going to get talent on this so that they are being retrained in a much better fashion. So that a year from now, we're going to start to see some great stories coming out. Whoa, wow. Some of our worst facilities are now becoming some of the best facilities. We can do it. We can do it with your support. If we're all strong on this, if we all stand up, because everybody out there's got to appreciate these men and women risk their lives for us on a daily basis. It's the least we can do for them. Let's rally this thing. Let's make it happen. Let's turn it around, because they deserve so, so much better than that. Media. It seems so often now we've got these bad, whether they be terrorists, bad people, being shown sometimes 10 times a day, day after day after day. They're wearing us out with this stuff. What they're really doing is they're encouraging it. So you are inadvertently encouraging this. I'm all about freedom of speech. But we have to have some form of decency about it. I know not to ask you not to show it at all. That wouldn't be right. You have to have an opportunity to share a story. But could we adopt a policy where we are one and done? Well, you get home a little late from work and you flick it on and you miss that one. You can always go on the computer. That story will be there for you. One and done. Let's stop glorifying it. Now I'm reaching out to you. This is a tribute today, especially for Fox News. I was able to capture all these stories, all these news items from Fox News. But I am reaching out to each and every one of you other stations, whether it's MSNBC, CBS, NBC, CNN. We need you. We need you. I am from the people. I am for the people. Matt, let's get the word out. These are the things we want to start talking about. These are real stories we can run with. Let's run with them. Citizenship study for our non-citizens. This is the one that everybody avoids. Nobody wants to talk about this. You see, the citizenship study was something that they did. If we took too many people in at once, it's literally going to put us upside down. And upside down, very huge in the numbers. And that's what they're also scared about. And that's why I call it a carrot and a string. That's why they won't do it. We just saw this entire administration come and go. And you can attest to this. What was really accomplished. This is one of the hugest hurdles. This is why. So what we need to do is we need to focus on, okay, let's get them into the system. Let's get them able to come in on a new work permit that allows them to be here to work without all of the protections of a citizen. Now they're showing themselves, you're proving yourself, your income is slowly climbing, which is going to help allow more to come in. Now that's responsible. And you heard it from Matt. So let's rally out there. Let's get excited, all right? Let's talk about job training. This is one Hillary touched on. It's very important that we get these people back in the workforce. Too many people have been out of work for far, far too long. Some of the areas that we need the most concern, are listed here. So we're going to be putting huge incentives so that companies are willing to jump right in and get going, because we're going to give them big breaks. Some of these great new areas are water filtration. We had the state of California run out of water. Now, I can only imagine they're piping it in from other states. But that sounds awfully serious. This is a state where we grow a lot of crops. And we need to make sure those crops are being sprayed with good water. We really have to focus on this one. It's really that important. It comes down to what we eat at the dinner table, perhaps. We all need to just step back and think about that. Natural crops is another one. From my understanding, we're having a hard time selling our material overseas. Our produce, our fruit, for whatever reason, because it's been genetically altered, it's not selling well. So let's get some incentives to naturally grown crops. Better for us, better for them, better for sales. Everybody's going to win. Let's get them going. Let's give them the opportunities. And farmers out there, a lot of you, rally on this thing. Rally on this thing. Let's turn it around. Let's turn it around. Alternative energy. Now this is one very close to myself. I like to take mechanical approaches in solving these things. Another interest of mine. We need to look in other ways. We've looked in solar. We spent a ton of money. It's very, very interesting, but we're not there yet. But we can't give up. We have to be looking in other directions. I believe it's right under our nose. Now, some people are scientists. They're working on biofuels. Let's encourage them. Let's encourage all these new avenues by giving them incentives to do it. Let's get them rolling. Let's get it started so that down the road, if we have a little hurdle, we've got those alternatives. Oil and gas industry. What's new about the oil and gas industry? Well, I think what we're not talking about, and what seems to divide us, is it seems to be one way or the other. Well, why can't we have it all? Why can't we do both? Why can't we incorporate some safety devices? From my understanding, approximately 90% of all liners of these gas wells fail within 10 years or so. So that means we have all this toxic gas leaking out into the atmosphere, into our communities. Why can't we, for a reasonable amount of money, create a device that caps and captures the majority of that which is coming out? In the long run, they're just going to get more money from doing that, which is going to help offset that small cost in the beginning. Whoa, now we're off to a good start. Now, when it comes to the rights, let's talk about those land rights. Too often, we're getting too close. We're too close to where people live. We're too close to where businesses are, children playing. We've got to be conscious of this. It is dangerous. So let's all be responsible. We want you to do well. We want you to make money. We've got no problem with that. Let's do it safely. Let's do it responsibly. And we'll all rally together on this thing. We can do this. We can do this. We've also got the new businesses incentives that we're going to create for all these items that are most important. In addition, and some of the largest, is that returning business. We want our businesses, and we are reaching out. We are reaching out there in the world and asking these companies to come back. Come back to our country. Come back to us. We appreciate your support and what you do for us. We really do. We want you to come back. And we're going to give them smoking breaks, smoking deals to get it done. So the first 2 years, while they are coming back, getting set up, getting rolling again, they're covered. They're covered. They're doing great. Now, as the money starts to kick in, we're really going to appreciate it. We really do. We've got to focus on this. And that's going to create tremendous jobs, tremendous, across the board. I've got more job opportunities in here as we go through. And once we get to the money. But let's just keep rolling. Bank savings. So important we have our bank savings. Seems like something that we're starting to give up on, and we've got to get back to it. We've got to set a precedent, not just for ourselves, for our children. That this is the responsible thing to do. We have to plan for that rainy day. We can't just always pick up the phone and call our banking partners out there. We have to handle this. We've got to do this. We've got to get back to savings. Loans and rate of return. Now, a rate of return, a faster rate of return, is something we can talk about when we have our good banking partners that are giving us true, good, firm handshakes. And what do I mean by good, firm handshakes? Not just a real good handshake. I'm talking about working with us with the difficulties that we struggle with, whether it be patent infringement, anything along that line. When we need a difficult area discussed, we want accomplishment. And one way we can say thank you for working with us is a faster rate of return. And they're going to like the sound of that out there. I think they're liking the sound of it already. Now, I'm not a candidate, so I can't reach directly to those leaders. But I bet they're hearing some of that. I bet they're hearing some of that, and they like it. They're going to be thinking about it. Now, with our loans, we need to do a few different things. We need to focus on our bad paper. What do I mean by that? Well, when the crash happened, I was one of them, came this close to losing my house. Well, we came up with these mortgages as to how we were going to fix everything. Well, not that I'm not appreciative. I'm appreciative. But it was an awfully, awfully crazy deal that we got. 40-year mortgages. In addition to the 40-year mortgage, and that helped get our payments down, they took the shortfall, the money we were behind, times it by 3, at least in my case, stuck that on top as a balloon note, didn't even guarantee it. Whoa, wait a minute. So I have a loan with this lump sum of money they expect me to honor, but they won't guarantee the money. And on top of that, they made them adjustable, which they tell us, oh, adjustable loans are terrible. But yet they served them right to us. We need to fix the bogus paper. We need to make locked-in rates that are reasonable loans. Really need to address this, and we need a strong enough candidate out there to stand up for us now, because there are a lot of you out there that got these things. A lot of you. Let's stand up now. Let me hear some Mac out there. Come on. Let's get this thing done. If we take this to the candidates now, we might just do it. Pitfall insurance. Pitfall insurance. The banks have PMI insurance. That PMI insurance covers them if we fall down on a loan, if we aren't paying. So the bank is protected. Well, where's our protection? Pitfall protection. It's pretty difficult to imagine that in 25, 30, 40 years, somewhere along the way, we're not going to have a pitfall. A health emergency, a financial crisis. And we need that insurance for those times to help us through. Now, it can all be lost in an instant. All our hard work, all our investment, the money, the time, equity can all be gone in an instant. One small health crisis, one small economic hurdle could just take us out. We need to be able to have that. And maybe it can come right after the PMI. So it starts with the PMI and could kick directly into one of these. We need to look at it. We need a strong enough candidate to address this one. Because it's worthy of attention. It truly is. Let me hear some Max. Come on, help me out. Help me out. Let's have some fun with this thing. So now, let's look at affordable homes. In my area, in many areas, we don't have many opportunities for something in the reasonable range. And what happens, we get drawn up into really paying too much for an older home with so many problems that we don't have the money to ever address those problems. And they're stuck. A lot of people out there in this situation. I'm feeling it. Believe me, I feel it. I've been there too. We need reasonable alternatives. Now, it is not the responsibility of the government to put us in a home. It is not. But it is, I believe, the responsibility of the government to make sure that there are opportunities. And that's where we can jump in. Go in state by state, create a model, put up a really well-built, really good technology into it, get them rolling, a little small of a space. I think they're really going to like it. And on top of that, we'll take 10% of what we're putting up. And these people that aren't specifically qualifying yet, they have a job, but they don't have the proper amount of time. We're going to let an amount of those jump in and bet America. And what is that? They're going to take an oath that says, I'm going to work my hardest, always try to have a job and get this mortgage paid. Whoa, whoa. Next thing you know, whew, we're going to have some real fortunate, happy people out there. And it can be done just that easily. I'm a master carpenter and builder. Please don't doubt those words. That can happen. It's a question of, will we focus on it? With your help, we can do it. We can do it. Let's get it rolling. Agents. So important to talk about our agents now. The difference, what we have now in this current administration, what's been going on within that news board, are czars. What is a czar? A czar is someone who only speaks directly to the president, never will explain himself to anyone else or herself. Now, what we need to do is make agents. An agent is someone who, within certain guidelines, will always find themselves in front of Congress. And if they're doing a great job, awesome. They're doing a great job. But if they're not, if they're dropping the ball, if they're letting us down, if they're blowing it,